On the water and sewer billing, we did send out pink cards this month, and there was there were $25 for people to be shut off. But I made the decision on the week of March 6th not to do shutoffs because there were some issues about whether we were going to be open or not in this building. So I just want to let everyone know that we will be doing shutoffs next month, the month of April. But also, I didn't know if council wanted to consider about not charging penalties for the month of March again. I will want to know we are going to have to probably start shutting people off because their bills are just going to keep getting higher and higher. And then if people are just up and leaving and not letting us know, we need to get their water off.
So joined here by Jusha. You've seen her on the channel a couple times at this point. I guess first off, what were your impressions of the meeting tonight? Were you expecting more information about actually what's going on here?
Yeah, I was waiting for it to like kind of start, and I was hoping they had some sort of like schedule that like led to a question section, especially because we've all been wanting answers, and they kind of said that they were going to be doing weekly meetings. However, like I feel like they never even like kind of looked at us to listen or to hear what we were saying. Like they feel like they was just like, we're just going to do our thing here and pretend like you guys aren't here. I have a lot of unanswered questions, and I was wondering if I was allowed to like interrupt at certain points but I was like, no one else was talking, so I wasn't sure. Right. It was kind of like, yeah, it was kind of weird like that. It was kind of like really vague. I wasn't really sure like what was going to happen next or when we were going to have a chance to get some questions out. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was under the impression that there was, I had been told that a couple residents had been able to add their names to an agenda as long as they had submitted by Friday.
I heard that, like, literally on the way over here, someone asked if I'd submitted my questions, and I said, to what? Like, from where? Because, like, I wasn't even sure this was actually even happening because it hadn't been announced anywhere, really. Like, there was a Facebook page that said, like, council meeting, a regular council meeting at 7 p.m., and then the date, and that was it. And that was, like, 3 days ago, and then no one's heard anything since, so it feels like they just don't care. Like, they don't want to listen. They're not actively trying to listen. So, yeah, I wish there would have been more information about a lot of things and more communication with us, but it felt like they just tried to ignore the fact that we were sitting there.
Right. You know, it felt like a very, like, normal council meeting as if, like, nothing had happened recently. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then they were talking about, like, the water shut-offs, and it says next month we're going to start it. I was like, well, people, like, some people might not even be getting their mail. They're in hotels right now because they can't go home. Like, they're not using that water either.
You're a perfect example of that. Yeah. How long have you been in a hotel at this point?
Since February 3rd. I just got my Airbnb today, but it's been a hotel since then. And it has not been a vacation by any means. With my son, our 2 cats, like, living on top of each other, like, not sure what's going to happen from hour to hour, like, getting pressure from a lot of different angles of my life, and it's like, I wish this were easier. It's not a vacation. It's not been fun.
Right. And have you been able to get any assistance from Norfolk Southern for paying for this at this point? Like, are you in the zone? Are they actually, because some people are getting it, which is great. I hope you are. And some people are struggling to get assistance from them.
Yeah, it's super, like, wishy-washy about who gets it and who doesn't. And I mean, they've told me I was in it, and then I was out, and then I was in and out, and then, like, it's not even going by the mile, like, the evacuation zone anymore. It's city limits, like, and it depends on who you are. There's people in the same situation as me who has had their air tested okay by their group, which is still obviously not okay. We're still getting sick. It still smells. Some people have been compensated for their hotel stays since then, and I had a 2-week period where I wasn't. And now I am because of this whole temporary relocation, but it's a joke. And $1,000 for a family. I mean, it costs $1,500 for a 1 week at an Airbnb, which is lower rates than a hotel sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's insane. I'm glad you brought up the point that, like, it's not like you're going and enjoying your time staying at this hotel. No. Like, you've got all of your belongings are in town here, right, in your house for the most part. You take what you can with you to go deal with this sort of stuff, and then, you know, you're running back and forth. You don't have all your things with you. To your point, you've got your pets, your kids, all in one room. You don't have a stove to cook on. You're eating,
like, reimbursing us for any of that stuff. Like, so we got $1,000 for my son and I, which it actually doesn't even cover a week's worth of just lodging alone. And then they said they're going to cover food and gas. But everything else is just we're left to replace on our own or go without, and that's not fair.
And food and gas is tough too, because, like, food, again, you're staying in a hotel. It's not like you can cook. Like, food means going out to eat. Yeah. And if you're trying to do that on a budget, it means eating food that's terrible to eat every day, basically. It's like,
really stressful too, because I hate going out, and I was actively trying to live healthier and cooking more, and now it's like it's my only alternative to eat out, and it's like it sucks, and I'm like being withheld from living my life the way I want to. It's not a good time.
One last question for you, because I know it's cold. I know that early on your child was not doing well with this and having lots of complications. You've stayed away from town, and you've been able to do that, which is great. Have they been doing okay since being away from East Palestine?
So yes and no. So he had a couple days of rashes that healed up, but he's been so he's got family he stays with sometimes in Chippewa, and we were being told like that's just not included in any of this. But we actually evacuated a second time the day of the burn from Chippewa because we saw the cloud roll in. Well, now sometimes he's coming back from being in Chippewa with a little bit of rash on his face, and it's been coming and going, but he's there on and off sporadically through the week. So I'm concerned about that, and he's been showing some like signs of being like just really like fatigued. And I'm just concerned about that because he hasn't had any other kind of reactions like that since he was a baby, when he was just really sensitive to a lot of stuff. So, I mean, mentally he's struggling a lot. He misses his friends. He doesn't, well, we've tried to like fit it in between trying to find like where to live and everything, and it's just been hard for him as an only child too.
Okay, right afterwards is fine. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's been really stressful. He doesn't really understand why some of his friends are going back to school and then other ones aren't. Some of them are getting sick, and he's afraid. He's afraid for them, and it's really hard to talk about it because his little friends are, their moms are calling me and said, hey, like they're having nosebleeds. We just went to the ER, and my son's 9. Like that's traumatizing. It's not been easy at all for any of us.